Hello, what's up, everyone? Good evening, good evening. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. Let me just get my windows ready here and we'll get started. Just getting some quick reference together. So tonight, I'm just going to be working on the Coelophysis more. I think what I'm going to do is, I feel like it'd probably be a good idea to get the Coelophysis done just as soon as I can. So the Coelophysis and the Nemi need to be done pretty closely together, or like one after the other, but I think you can probably get the Coelophysis done quicker than the Nemi. So probably just go ahead and finish this guy up and then wrap up the Nemi. But tonight I am just going to be focusing on probably just the finer details stuff. Like, so earlier in the week, I was actually working on this guy, and I started doing the scales, and I realized that I just don't feel like I have enough detail in the lower, like in this stage yet. Because I put on the scales, and they just felt too flat. So I feel like I need to spend a little bit more time just kind of adding some more variation to the skin here, and then moving on to the scales. I feel like I kind of jumped the gun a little too early, you know. So that's what we'll do. I'm just gonna like prepare the model for the scale pass, make sure it's got good amount of detail here, and then we might get to some scales tonight. I'll at least show you guys how I'm going to go about it. But yeah, that's the plan. Citrus, how's it going? Yeah, so just chill and have some good good detail session here. That's what we'll be doing. So you can see, I wish I saved a version of it before I started all this, but all this stuff here, like this subtle little, you can see that breakup. That's all what I've started to add. It looked quite like, it looked more like this. You see this? I mean, it does have detail, but it's not as much as this here. And I really want that like surface noise, I guess you can call it. Surface variation. Kind of random, it's not necessarily like super organized, it's just kind of random details that sort of add up to make the skin texture, you know? So that's what I need. And I have some alphas that I'll add. I did do some work on the face. Like I filled in all of this area with scales. You got to go back in and touch up some stuff, and I did the top of the head too. So there's some scales on here. It's just not as filled in as I would have wanted it to be, but we got to make sure that the detail level is correct before I get too far ahead. The old one looks really soft, like some kind of carrot texture. Yeah, a little bit. Like, I could just go ahead and do the scale pass. I mean, there's no real right or wrong way to do it. I could do scales and then like sculpt over top of them. I don't know. I've done that before, but for right now, I feel like this is probably the better approach. Trying to work smarter, not harder, you know. Lunons, how's it going? Perfect timing, just got off work and I'm ready to watch some dinosaurs. Nice. Yeah, I'll probably get some, once I get to a certain point, I'll probably do some alpha texturing on here just to add even more, push it even further. I have mapped out like all this, you see all this stuff going on. This is the scale map that I established on the model. So once we do have all those details, it's going to be really easy to apply the scales. I mean, I got some patches that I need to fill in here and there, but it's not too big a deal. So that should go by actually pretty fast. You'd be surprised at how fast scales can go onto a model like this. It's just all the priming, the prep work that needs to get done. It's kind of weird, but I kind of equate this process to kind of like painting like a room. That's one of the reasons why I say priming the surface. For anyone who's painted their house or room, a lot of it is actually like, it's not actually painting, it's the prep, like the prep for it. It's like taping things off and like, you know, just getting everything ready to get the paint on. The actual painting part is not, this doesn't take that long. And the prep part of it is actually what determines whether it looks good or not. So in some ways, it's even more important than the actual painting part, you know. It's kind of like how this is. Yeah, I think a lot of people, and myself included, like especially when I was starting out as a sculptor, I was really in a rush to get to the detail stage. Like I really wanted to get those details on because I felt like that's where all of the, that's where all of the important stuff was, is all the details. Took me quite a while to just sort of realize, just understand how much more important it is to establish the forms and, just understanding the hierarchy of detail. I need a game like The Isle and Echoes, but just today's birds. That could be cool. It's like a whole bird ecosystem. There's been some cool birds that I've seen around lately, and just like interesting interactions. A few weeks ago, my wife and I saw some bald eagles. There's a pair of bald eagles that I don't think they're nesting. I think they were just like resting in some of the trees, the big tall trees nearby, and they were being chased off. Crows and eagles don't get along very well, and the crows might have had like a nest or something in those trees, because the crows were chasing the eagles off. Like there was a bunch of crows making a big ruckus, and they were chasing after them. The crows can harass eagles and falcons and stuff pretty badly, because obviously they don't want the predator near their space, so they'll gang up and shoo them out. And there's a couple different species of hawk nearby too. I saw one try to take out a pigeon. Like it swooped down after the pigeon. The pigeon got away like narrowly, but that was the first time that I've ever seen something like that happen. There's a bunch of herons that are pretty cool to watch. They're big, really big, especially when you see them flying. Their wingspan is really impressive. I think I'm not exactly sure what the species. I think it was some kind of buzzard, but it was a huge bird. Flew over me while I was walking. There's a lot of cool stuff going on outside, if you just kind of hang out, and I guess it depends on where you are, but over here in the Pacific Northwest, some pretty cool birds to watch. Finally awake again for stream. Don't know much about avians, but I think I would just enjoy a calming game like that. Yeah, Blue Nods. It's really cool. I really like it a lot. Oh, I saw an owl too. It was in the daytime, which is kind of what I didn't expect, but he was just perched up on a branch, just kind of hanging out, looking around. But yeah, there's a ton of like birds of prey, at least, that I have never seen here. But like, come to think of it, like, I don't know, I've always just enjoyed watching birds, and I'm not like a bird watcher. Like it's not like a hobby that I take, that like I don't have binoculars or keep track of the sightings or anything like that. Like, but I do notice, try to take notice, of them while I'm outside. I grew up in Colorado. We had sandhill cranes that migrated into the area every spring. It's either spring or fall, one of those two. Those were always a really cool thing to go watch. We also had, when I was going to college, we had Canada geese that would kind of settle on campus and just kind of hang out. I really like Canada geese. They can be kind of scary, but I think they're really cool. Especially considering, like, I think when I was growing up, at least, Canada geese were considered an endangered species. So to see so many of them when I was going to college was pretty interesting. So many of them and so close too. We can see some hawks and buzzards in my neighborhood too. Yeah, I need to look up what that bird was. It was gigantic and it had this like orange face. Really sharply curved beak. I have no idea what it was. But it was just cruising really low. It's cool too, because like I think in Portland, I think they actually have. I think they have like a pigeon problem, or it's either a crow or a pigeon problem downtown. For some reason, you know, there's an issue with some birds, but they use hawks. There's quite a few falconers that use hawks in downtown to like scare away the birds and like keep the pest control. I guess you can call them like pest control, you know, to keep the numbers down, you know, like just kind of shoo them away and prevent them from gathering in such large numbers. Kind of interesting. I haven't personally seen one of those falconers walking around, but I know they do kind of patrol downtown. Saw a hawk dive bomb straight down to catch another bird out of the air. Yeah, that's crazy. They're so they're just so acrobatic. Oh, there's another cool sighting that I had when I was walking. Yeah, again, it was a hawk being chased by a pair of crows. And this hawk, it like swooped down under this line of trees, being chased the whole time, and it did this like really cool barrel roll to miss one of the crows was trying to like peck at its wing, and it did this barrel roll to avoid it. It was really cool. It's one of those moments where like I just kind of stopped and like my jaw dropped a little bit because I just did not expect it. It was just the things you see sometimes when you're, you know, just going on a stroll. Oh, hey Smogsy, how's it going? We're just chatting about our various bird sightings. Oh, I am at least. I think I'm gonna probably miss that, you know, depending on what happens. But like I said last time, I'm going to be moving to California next month, and I don't know. Maybe there's some cool stuff to see out there. We're going to be more in the city though, so I don't know if we're going to see as much like wildlife like that. But maybe we'll be closer to the ocean, so maybe the type of wildlife will just change. Maybe we'll see some cool fish or something interesting. It's going, surviving. How's the week been going for me? Yeah, it's been doing all right. I think we're in kind of like a bit of a heat wave. Nothing like some parts of the world have been dealing with. Like, it's not like ridiculous, but it's definitely hotter. So it's been kind of cooking in my office this week. I'm still kind of recovering from my leg injury. So it's getting better, but I'm still kind of hobbling around a little bit. I'm being like a little bit, honestly, I'm being a little bit impatient about it. I know I have to like rest and, you know, try not to overdo the strain on my leg, but it's kind of hard not to do it, you know. So I really want to get back to running, but I can't run because it hurts too much. Crazy to see how agile they are in the air. Really leaves you just staring when you witness how fast they are. Yeah, for sure. Kind of makes me think too, how I was just kind of wondering, like, just how cool it would be to see an actual pterosaur fly. Because apparently, like, just the way the biology of their wing structure, the wing surface that they have, someone, I can't remember where I was hearing about this, but they apparently had really, really fine control of the wing membrane along the length of the wing. Because if you think about it, it's all skin and like fibers going through the wing. So it kind of makes sense that they would have some sort of, you know, some sort of control over maybe how stiff the wing is, or like the shape of it to some degree. Because the bird, of course, they have control over their wings, but they don't have, a feather is just, it's a structure that's, you know, there's no muscle inside of a feather. There's no like nerve endings inside of a feather. It's just like a bit of flat keratin that's projecting out of the arm that they use to catch air with. So I think if we're impressed by birds' maneuverability, I don't know. I imagine what those pterosaurs could be capable of. It'd be really cool to see. It's cool. It's fun to think about, at least. If only we had a time machine. Maybe more like bats, yeah. Yeah, bats have control of their. They have because their fingers are their wing essentially, so they would probably have some pretty interesting. I mean, they are very agile. You see those like slow motion videos of bats exiting their caves at night. They have all those, like there's snakes and stuff that wait outside of the caves to catch them. They gotta avoid all of that just to get out and feed at night. It's not even mentioning the size of some of them. Oh yeah, yeah. Just a huge pterosaur like fly overhead and land. Or yeah, just anything they do would be super, super interesting to see. Because yeah, I mean, if I was impressed by that buzzard flying overhead with its like, I don't know, the wingspan must have been like either like 6 to 8 feet. It felt really big. Can you imagine like a pterosaur the size of a small plane just kind of gliding overhead? Crazy, crazy stuff. Ridgeback, how's it going? Triceratops, we had bats near my childhood home and loved watching them at night. Yeah, yeah. Bats are super cool. It's been a while, actually. I know there's definitely some bats out here, but I haven't seen them. Some people out here have like little bat, what do they call them? Like little bat hotels or something like that, to encourage bats to like roost. I think that's really cool. Like when you can help provide a habitat for animals like that. I was thinking about doing that here at the house for a while. Just never got around to it. We also had they're called chimney swifts. They're a very small bird that actually they like to roost in chimneys. They're supposed to roost on like vertical surfaces. I think they like to roost in caves and stuff. But you know, since humans have like encroached on their habitat, they've taken to using chimneys as roosts. Excuse me. But we had some chimney swifts in our chimney the year before last. And I was thinking of making them a little, because it's not really safe for them to be in the chimney because sometimes the babies fall down. And depending on the structure of the chimney, they can get stuck at the bottom. So it's better for them to have like a little box or something to be in rather than the chimney. So I was going to go up on the roof and put one out, but the swifts that nested here haven't come back. Yeah, I think this is going to look much better once I add the scales now. It's not going to look as flat. That's too intense. Okay, cool. Thank you, Smogsy, for fielding those questions. See what this looks like if I add some bumps to this. I think that'll look pretty cool. Just add some interesting noise to those surfaces. They can start to look a little too clean. And we'll go back to the wrinkle roller here. Just have to work back and forth a lot. Let's see. Let's do a quick test to see if this is working. I think it is, but we'll try it out. I'll store a quick layer. Let's see. Mask by intensity, please. Wonder why. Why isn't that working? Let's see. Now it worked. So it must not like the layer. I don't know. Some weird stuff's going on there. What do I want to do? Try to inflate some of these scales out here. I'll be fine if these guys aren't playable, but it would be funny to watch little packs of these guys running around being scoundrels. Yeah, I think so too. I don't know modeling very well. What's happening to the model every time you move the cursor on it? Oh, you mean like how it like changes it like goes kind of glitchy looking? Like it changes the shape a little bit. It's just it's just changing when it moves, it's changing to the low subdiv. So that way it saves a little bit on memory. It's a little less process heavy on the computer. This is so yeah, you're seeing when I'm moving it around, you're seeing the low poly. So the weird thing about ZBrush is that it's not actually 3D. This is technically a 2.5D program. If you're interested in learning about it, I would say go look it up because it's kind of like a weird concept to understand, and I still kind of don't understand it either. But originally, I think ZBrush was some sort of like experimental 2D illustration, 2D/3D illustration sort of tool. And then people started using it more for like this sort of thing. But yeah, it's very weird. It's not necessarily, it doesn't work necessarily like other 3D programs would work. So that feels a lot better to me. I still probably would go back in and do some resculpting of certain parts, but I think it feels a lot nicer than what it was doing before, because before it was just flattening out too much. Like the scale detail was just like obliterating all of my skin details underneath, and it was making the model look very flat, and that's not good. So I really want all of this nice, like, see if you look at the surface of each of those scales, how it's very uneven. It's not like one flat, perfectly flat scale over the top. And that's what I want. I want that sort of uneven quality to it. How far is Packy coming along, by the way? The last image I saw, it looked really developed. It's coming along pretty far. Bohuslav has been doing a really good job with the sculpting. He is at the point where he's very close to being ready to texture the model in Substance Painter. The thing is, we need concepts for the coloration. So probably do a little bit of work on the concepts, so he has some colors to actually, paint on the Packy. And then once that's good to go, he can go ahead and proceed to the texturing phase of that. But it's coming along really nice. Looks really good. I think it matches the concept really well. Snufkin, love what you guys are currently doing. Just added the game to my wishes. Thank you. Really glad that you are looking forward to the game. Okay, so I think that's starting to work. or it will work once we've established it. So I think what I'm gonna do though is, since that's on a layer, I can just turn it off for now. And we'll just keep on working on some of these surface details first, and then we'll reapply those scales on there. I'm gonna grab one of this is my favorite alpha. Comes default with ZBrush, but it's really good. Is Nemi Coelophysis in the concept staging yet? Nemi is beyond that. It's already being sculpted. It's just I'm kind of bouncing around, honestly. But the Nemi is pretty close. So I'm basically treating the Nemi and Coelophysis as like a pair. Because that's honestly what they are. They need to be ready for the hygiene system. So once I'm done with Coelophysis, so I just think Coelophysis is going to be a lot easier to finish. Like I can finish him really quickly. So I'll just get this guy done, and then switch over to Nemi, and then he's pretty close to done too. Or when I say, like, he needs the feather work on him, and the texturing, which is it's a little bit more involved than the Coelophysis, because the Coelophysis doesn't have any feathers on it, so he's a little bit easier to do, you know. But yeah, Nemi's well on his way as well. Yeah, I can show you guys if you want. I can show you where he is. Let me just load him up. Load the Nemi up. Where are you, Nemi? Nemi Coelophysis. Nemi. It'll take a little bit to load up. There he is. So he's got all his wing detail on there. He needs like the body feathers and stuff on. And then we have to make some feather cards and stuff to add to him. Like this bit of geometry here will be like little strands, you know? It'll be like a feathery structure, but we got to actually make the cards for that. So that takes a little bit more work than your standard dino, which is why I'm going to finish the Coelo first. and then we'll move on to the Nebi. Yeah, I have quite the selection of dinos in my, I guess, in my pocket or on my plate, because I have Silo, Nemi, then we got Tropio. That's pretty close to being like Tropio. Basically, just needs feathers and texture, and then we have Dracovinator, which is pretty. It needs scales and spines, but they're all like pretty well established sculpts. They just need to, I think once the Nemi and the Coelophysis are done, the other ones should they'll be wrapped up fairly soon, and then we see what happens next, you know. And I should probably, considering how close Bohuslav is to being done with the Paki, we should probably consider what he's going to work on next too. Or he might, I don't know, Bohuslav might be working on character stuff next. So I don't know exactly what. I have to touch base with Islander and Furious to see what's going on. Because if Bohuslav is going to move on to another dino, then we have to do concepts for that dino before he can get started. So I should probably touch base with somebody soon, because that means I'll have to take a break from sculpting to do another concept round. Yeah, sorry, Maykund. Yeah, this is ZBrush. Tropy is going to be so good. Love the selection of pterosaurs for the game, because it seems like the air will be its own ecosystem. Yeah. Yeah, then we have Tapajara, or it's either Tapajara or Tupandactylus. I think Tapajara got renamed. Or like reverted back to an older name. It got the Suchomimus treatment. And then there we have an Asdarchid as well. So yeah, they're quite the skies will be full. Well, all the dinos you are working on now, once they are done, will they be released into the early access gameplay or saved for full release? I don't know. I don't know what's planned for that. I kind of just like, I just try to get them done, and then, you know, whatever the team decides on when they are going to get released is, it's kind of like out of my hands, you know. So I don't know. What do you like better, doing concepts or modeling? Ooh, that's very hard. What do I like better, doing concepts or modeling? If I had to pick, I think I would pick modeling. But it's very hard to say for me, because I mean, I come from I started off with 2D, like I'm an illustrator. I have an illustration background. So I really love drawing. It's like drawing to me is like the foundation for every visual like art skill set. So I don't know, I feel like it's essential sort of thing, you know? Oh, you're fine, Tricera. I was just considering, like, you know, if I really had to choose, what would I pick? But yeah, I'm really glad, and I really appreciate Echoes for giving me the flexibility and, like, you know, letting me do so many different things in the pipeline. That's what's so cool about working more on like on an indie game like this is you get to wear multiple hats. I think that's really the advantage, or like what's the fun part of being on a, you know, like on a bigger game. Like if I were working at a AAA studio, they would definitely be like, okay, you're just going to do models. So I would just be doing one thing, you know, and everybody has their like little slice of the project that they deal with, and then, you know, they give it to somebody else to finish a different aspect. Which is also, I mean, that if that's how those games are made, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I personally, I like this, you know. I like being able to follow a design through to the end. It's really fun. It's really rewarding. I learn a lot. It's, you know, it's variety, right? Like if you have to go to a job and do the same thing every day, eventually it's going to get tiring. You'll have the, you know, you'll have your days where it's more tiring than others, but I think variety is good. You're not always working on the same thing. You know, like even right now, like I mean, we could stop working on the Coelophysis and we could jump over to the Nemi, do some work on the Nemi. I try to keep it consistent because that would be really annoying for people if they're like trying to follow along on the streams, and like it's just hella unorganized because the dinosaurs are all jumbled up, and I try to keep it, you know, consistent in that way. But we could do that if we really wanted to. If you guys ever decide on adding Suchomimus in the future, please go with the name Suchomimus. I don't want to call it Chris Christopherson. Yeah. You know, I don't know exactly. I mean, I've heard like through the grapevine, you know, through the grapevine that is Twitter, about that whole situation. I didn't read the paper. So I think there is a bit of nuance to it. I don't think Suchomimus is completely disappearing. But I'd have to really check it out, you know, because there's some like in terms of like names of species and how all those rules like pan out. It can get a little complicated. So I don't know if it's all said and done just yet. I don't think we have Suchomimus in the game though. We have Irritator. Oh, you're a veterinarian, Tricera. I didn't know that. That is awesome. I really appreciate veterinarians. I have I love animals, but I have my little doggos, and we've gotten to know our vets very well. They really do a good job taking care of our little ones. But yeah, that's an interesting aspect of being a vet. It's like you never know what's going to walk through the door. You have to be familiar with all the different anatomies of canines, felines, birds, reptiles, you know, all this stuff. Ah, there you go, Delta. That is exactly what I was wondering. Yeah, so yeah, that's good news, right? Sucho is good for now. Suchomimus is secure in the public's hands. Yeah, I don't think I've. It's gonna be fun. I don't know. I mean, I hope I'm able to sculpt the irritator. I haven't actually sculpted too many Spinosaurids. I've sculpted Spinosaurus, I've sculpted Baryonyx, but I haven't gotten around to anyone else. So Suko, Irritator, those guys would be fun. There's so many, yeah, there's so many species on the roster that are just going to be really fun to do. Like the sharks are awesome, Megalodon, and I can't remember the name of the other shark. But those guys are going to be cool. You know, I really love sharks, and I haven't sculpted many. Kind of crazy. I really want to sculpt a shark. I need to sculpt a shark soon. I love the name Irritator. Yeah, Irritator is really cool. I think all the Spinosaurids, Irritator is my favorite. The internet blew up and over exaggerated it. Yeah, I had a sense. I got that vibe when I was reading all kinds of stuff on Twitter. I was like, I don't know about this. Got to verify, but I didn't have a chance to look into it just yet. The internet do what the internet do. See you next week, Ridgeback. You two think sharks are cool? They are awesome. My favorite species of shark. It's hard. Oh, it's hard. I really love thresher sharks. I think they're really cool. It would be, I think it would be a tie. It'd be a tie between thresher sharks and makos. I really like makos as well. But yeah, I when I was growing up, Shark Week was like, it was the highlight of the summer, you know. It's the one thing I miss. I don't have cable. I just watch we just stream and watch like YouTube and stuff. So I don't get Shark Week. I don't even really know when Shark Week is happening. It's usually in the summer, right? Favorites are the oddballs before the Permian. Oh yeah, yeah. Shark Week was, I think it was like on Discovery Channel. And it was basically just a week-long focus on shark shows, you know, like shark documentaries. Yeah, the channel dedicated like everything to sharks for 1 week. It was really fun. And it was, you know, sharks from, you know, modern day sharks to prehistoric sharks. Of course, they would talk a lot about megalodon. Some of the stuff was kind of silly. Like it wasn't, some of it was pretty serious, like documentary stuff, research and things like that. Some of it was like advocating for sharks and like explaining, you know, trying to explain to people like, you know, they're not all bad. They're not just out to bite you, sort of thing. And then some of it was kind of silly, where they're, you know, they're like people going out there searching for megalodon or talking about megalodon sightings and the cryptozoology of it, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, I used to really enjoy that as a kid. Sauropod in Antarctica. Do we have a name for it yet? I mean, maybe, probably not. It's maybe too little material. That's really cool. An Antarctic sauropod. Titanosaur. They can call it Cryo Titan and Antarcto Titan. Let's see how many ways can we mix the word ice or like ice-based stuff with Titan? Just take like your standard like Titanosaur or sauropod naming tropes and mix some cold stuff in there. Speaking of dinosaur sightings, remember when someone claimed to have seen a dinosaur in the Congo? Yeah. You might be thinking about Mokele Mbembe. Supposed to be a sauropod, or no? Yeah, it would have been in the Congo. I know there's another dinosaur thing in the Amazon somewhere. People are talking about. I can't remember what the name of that one is. What is the Asdarkid that will be coming? I always forget its name. I don't know. Don't know off the top of my head. Maybe someone in chat knows. But it has slipped my mind. Penguin Titan. Okay, maybe we can, let's do some work on these claws here. So they are very important. Just kind of clean them up a little bit, and then we'll start working on some of those bigger scales on the hand. Oh wow, Tricera. Yeah, that is very early in the morning for you. Have I seen the quets from... I know this. What is... You're gonna have to remind me why DAW is, because I'm like, my brain's not working right now. It's like one of those moments where like it's on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't articulate it. Your dinosaurs are wrong. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I've seen most of his stuff, yeah. He's really cool. I really like his stuff. I think we've actually worked with him for Fax Dinosaurs as a consultant. From time to time, he helps out with our dinos. Okay, see ya, Tricera. Take care. Have a good night, morning. If you could, would you make a Microraptor or something close to one? Yeah, I think Microraptors are fun. I definitely need to do more stuff that's like feathery, fuzzy. They can be, of all of the dinosaur types to work on, I feel like they can be the most intimidating, at least for me, just because they've got so much more going on. But yeah, they're really cool. I mean, they got 4 wings. They have really cool plumage. Yeah, they're awesome little guys. Yeah, the gliding is really awesome. I was watching a documentary where they were like studying how or why Microraptor had the like secondary feathers on its hind legs and how that would help it fly or like glide from tree to tree rather. And they actually made like a little scale model of one and put it in a wind tunnel just to see what the optimum angle of the wings would be to get the most glide. So that was a pretty cool one. I think it turned out that like having the arm, the wings on the arm be held out horizontally and the wings on the leg at like slight angles was the like optimum orientation. The feathers are also there just to look tough. Oh, you mean like an intimidation thing? Make them look bigger. I can see that. Daniel, Nemicolopterus could just be a Juvisynopterus based on the fossil. Yeah, I saw that when I was doing the research for Nemi, and I told Furious about it too. As of right now, we're going to treat it as its own species. But yeah, I can see the argument for it being a baby of a different species. It has the characteristics. Yeah, I can see the correlation. But if we do that, we won't have a tiny pterosaur to fly, or at least not like an adult tiny pterosaur. We have to find somebody new. I am totally... Where's my brush? This one. I made a new icon for this brush and it's totally tripping me up. I'm not able to find it in the brush stack now. Like Nemi being its own thing. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really do any harm to treat it that way for the sake of the game, you know? If it ends up being its own species, like, confirmed, then we can probably change it up. But as for now, I think it works. Yeah, everybody's responded pretty well to it so far too, just being its own thing. Little cute pterosaur guy to run around as. I really am excited to see, like, once Nemi becomes a player character, a player dino, I'm really interested to see how that affects gameplay. You'd have a bunch of tiny players, you know, flying around. It's a whole new way to see the world. Maybe it'll almost be like, I mean, they're not that small, but they are pretty small. You guys seen that survival game? Oh man. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You're like a tiny, very tiny person in like the backyard of some house. I imagine it would be, you'd be super tiny somewhere, something like that, you know? Just flitting around. Could this game be free after the release of Nemi or Silo? You know, I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think there are any plans for it to be free to play, but I don't know. A free to play game is structured very differently from the outset. We would have to plan for it to be free to play like very early on. Yeah, Blue Nuns. I can't remember the name of there's actually a couple games like that. One of them is very kind of like cartoony or a little bit more stylized, and another one is a little bit more serious looking. But yeah, they like ride ants, and you can like train certain insects to be your pets and stuff. I think they recently had an expansion that they kind of teased it as being like kind of Jurassic Parky, like you're going into the territory of this like creature, you know, dinosaur-esque creature. But the dinosaur is it's like a horned lizard, you know, the like where I'm from, we used to call them horny toads. But yeah, it's just a little lizard that is the T-Rex, so to speak. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, Daniel. That's the name of it, Grounded. There's another one, though. I can't remember what that one's called either. You like play as like I think you're like some sort of fey folk, like some sort of small elf person or like fairy person. It's a little bit more serious looking. Like the proportions of the animals are less stylized. The proportions of the characters are less stylized. And it's more like kind of like fantasy based. You like put armor on and there's like swords and stuff. Yeah. I didn't catch the name of it, unfortunately. It did look interesting. There's a lot of survival games out there that I want to play. There's one that's coming out this month. It's not like a strict survival game. It's like, I guess it would be more like a roguelite or something with survival elements. But it's like a Cthulhu mythos sort of thing. Looks pretty fun because like I think you can get into a bunch of different really messed up shenanigans with your friends because it has a sanity mechanic where like if you get too far away from your friends, you start hallucinating. And the hallucinations can take on like multiple forms. Like you can see hazards in the environment that your friends don't see, or you could see your friends as monsters. And you of course, not knowing that they're your friends, you would start attacking them and stuff. I think it could just be really chaotic and funny. Or it could be just really scary because it actually does look like it could be kind of scary, that game. I think it's called The Mound. Oh, Sons of the Forest. Yeah, my friends and I played that one too. Yeah. The thing that I found ridiculous about that game is like, so we found like these like scooters, or like, I don't know what they were. They were like, it was almost like a Segway or something, but it's in the forest. So you're just in the forest, like zipping around on these crazy like Segway things. I thought it was really funny. But I did like the thing about the forest that I really liked was like the crafting system. Like I liked how you like unfold your pack or whatever, and you see all your materials and equipment in the interface, and you physically have to like move them together to make the stuff that you need. I thought that was really cool. I like the building, like how you have to, the way you chop the trees to make different sizes and stuff. How many dinosaurs can I name off the top of my head? That's an interesting challenge. I could probably name a lot. Have you guys seen? So there was a couple of I think it must have been some sort of viral challenge that was going around. But there was this one guy that I was watching where he was trying to name all of the Pokemon by memory. And it took him a while. It took him like, I don't know, like must have been like 8 hours or something for him to name them all. Because he did get stuck on a few, and it like took him a while to he had like a grid of all the silhouettes of them. So he could see the silhouettes, but he didn't know the names, and he was just going through them one by one. And I don't know, like by now, there's so many Pokemon. It would be impossible for me to do it. I definitely like don't know. The last few generations of Pokemon I have just not been aware of. Definitely lost track of those. Okay, this guy's looking nice and wrinkly. Wrinkly dude here. Let's see if we can exaggerate some of these. I'm gonna do one more sort of pass of just adding a little bit more contrast here. I need to set this up properly though. It's gonna look like I'm totally ruining the detail I just made, but bear with me for a second. This is a trick I found, or I didn't find it. A trick I learned from, I can't remember what artist I learned it from, unfortunately. But it's a trick I learned to add a little bit of extra contrast to the details. I learned this because of 3D printing. It was in 3D printing, especially if you're working on very tiny things, it's a good idea to exaggerate the details a little bit. So when it's printed, the details actually read. They actually are visible. So I learned this trick because of 3D printing, but it does work in these instances too. So the way that it works is that you make a layer on the model and you completely, you smooth out the detail. And then what happens is you take this slider and you actually invert the details. So instead of, if the slider's all the way to the right, this is the fully smooth model. But if you invert it, you're actually adding height. So you're taking the surface and you're actually exaggerating the peaks and valleys. So it ends up giving you this sort of exaggerated surface detail. And it works out really well, especially, well, for 3D printing, it works out really well. That's actually a little trick I did for a lot of the 3D prints that I did for the action figures that I worked on. And then it works out here too, because when I go, let's see. Whenever you add scales to a model, the scales can kind of nerf the surface detail a little bit. They kind of flatten things out. So if you compensate for it a little bit, you can get a better result with the scales. So we're gonna reapply some of these scales. I didn't really like the way they were looking before anyway, so we're just gonna remake this map. It'll be really fast. Should be. Why? Oh, color. I have to fill the color with white. There we go. That's why I was doing it. Hey, Prince. Good morning. It's evening for me, but good morning to you. I hope your day is getting started, starting off well. My mornings always start off with a quick breakfast. I just whip up some eggs and like a little omelet sort of thing and some coffee. That's how my mornings get started. Although I'm gonna do my best. We'll see how it works out, but I've noticed that I've been getting up like kind of earlier, just sort of automatically. I don't know what's sparking this, but I noticed I've been waking up like a couple hours earlier than I normally do. And I'm figuring since I got a couple hours, might as well do something productive. So I'm gonna try to either go for a morning walk or something, or even a run once my leg heals. Or maybe I get a quick morning like workout going, because it can be kind of hard to do it during my lunch break. Everybody has that idea, so everybody goes to the gym during their lunch break, and then it's just too crowded, and I kind of like when the gym is kind of dead, I don't bother anybody. You don't have to wait for machines. Nice and quiet most of the time. So if I get in there early, I might be able to beat the crowd. I just about never eat breakfast, never hungry in the morning. My brain is too busy trying to start up for the next 3 hours. I used to be that way too, yeah. Morning gym is the best gym. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good move to do that, to try and do that. It's good that there are tools to apply scales quicker. I can't imagine the pain if you just sculpted it by hand. Yeah, it's like a given. It's a bit of a trade-off. I'm still honestly trying to find like the optimal way to apply scales. And I say optimal in quotations because, you know, depends on who you ask what the best way to do it is. But yeah, this is a custom texture that I made specifically to cover like large areas of scale fairly quickly. There's some drawbacks to this that you have to keep in mind. The key to making something look naturalistic, is variety. And the one thing that a tileable texture can have is lots of repetition, which is the opposite of variety. So you really have to be mindful of like, does it look too repeated? Like, is it looking too monotonous? And you kind of have to consciously build in variation, or do your best to build in variation, which is why I did all this like build up on the bottom, the detail level here. All of this surface texture is going to jump, it'll be part of the scales, and it'll help to add that variation. It'll mix things up a good amount, so that way it doesn't look so monotonous. But yeah, if you're not careful, you can really make it very obvious that you're using a tileable texture or something. It's always a fight to get things looking nice and get them to look like they are very naturalistic and lots of variety, but also not take forever to do it, When I was first starting out and I didn't know about all these cool tricks, I did do quite a bit of hand sculpting, and it did take forever. But it did look really nice when it was done. It took forever to do it. Oh, blue dots. Yeah, that's almost. I didn't have surgery, but I had an injury. My shoulder. That I had to go into physical therapy for. So I had a good track of going to the gym as well, and then I had that injury. I had to stop and then go to physical therapy to get it fixed, and then it was very hard to get back into it. I lost a good chunk of progress because of that. But getting back on the horse. And my primarily it's just I just feel better when I my back doesn't hurt as much, or I actually sleep a lot better when I've done some exercise, either running or walking or going to the gym. Just feel generally better. It's nice to do something to take care of yourself instead of constantly just I'm the type of person that I will prioritize work over health, which is bad, you know. So trying to not do that. I can be a bit of a workaholic, I admit. You like really become accustomed to the gym. I was so anxious not being able to go to the gym these first few weeks. Yeah. That's how I'm kind of feeling right now, because I had another little accident with my leg. So now I'm kind of hanging around trying not to aggravate it, just waiting for it to heal. So yeah, I had a really good streak of just like going for walks, and then like, because I was trying to kind of build back up to things, kind of gradually. So I started to run more. I was really enjoying that, and then my calf started acting up, so trying to wait for it to get better is very feeling a lot of that anxiety, because you know, it's just hard, because it's like, man, I was just getting into a groove, you know, and then all of a sudden something has to happen to knock me out of it. But I'll get back there. I just got to be patient. That's the hard thing too, is like, if you're not patient, you'll actually make it worse, and then you'll be out for longer. So I just got to remind myself of that. It's like, it's more efficient to rest right now, and I'll get back to it sooner if I do it this way. Exactly, yeah. Oh, I'm using the wrong brush. Oh, well, Delta. Yeah, that's a long time. Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I didn't. I think it's just a strain on my right calf, like the lower part of it. But it still takes like, I think it's can take several days to a couple weeks for it to fully heal. The range of it was kind of ambiguous, and of course, like, I live in the US, so anytime you go to the doctor, it's like they're charging you an arm and a leg. So I'm trying to see if it'll kind of get better on its own, but if I have to go to the doctor, then I might actually do that just to make sure that everything's going fine. Yeah, I don't think it was like a serious tear. I think if it was, I mean, if it was a serious tear, I don't think I would be, I definitely think I would feel it, right? Like, I don't think I would be walking. That has to be severely painful. They said 8 months, but I couldn't stay away from sports that long. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough when you have something you really like to do. Have you done any modern mammals or megafauna for your work before? Yeah, let's see, modern. What have I done that's modern? I've done a few insects. Like I did a stag beetle and like a wasp model. I did a coelacanth, which is technically, I mean, it's a modern species of coelacanth. I didn't do like an extinct species. So I did a coelacanth. I've done a cassowary. I think that's about it for modern stuff. But I have done some megafauna. I've done. I actually have sculpted a megalodon before. I've sculpted. They're called Mixotoxodon. That's a crazy name. They kind of look like rhinos mixed with. This is what a Mixotoxodon is. They have crazy teeth. Like you can see this, the teeth are ridiculous. But I did one of these. Oh, this is kind of what I did. This isn't mine, but this is like I did also a Smilodon. I had to do like a scene kind of like this where they're like fighting. What else did I do? I did a terror bird. I did hyenodons. Let's see, am I missing anything? Oh, Glyptodon. I think they're called Glyptodons. No, not a Glyptodon. What is it? It was some kind of elephant. What was it? Oh man, I can't remember. Oh, it was one of these things. Yeah, a Gomphotherium. Yeah. I did one of these. It was at the scene that I did was the Gomphotheer were crossing a like interior seaway, and the Megalodon was chomping on them. So it was like a hunting scene for the Megalodon. Yeah, hippo rhino, yeah. That's kind of what they remind me of. Technically, they're more... I forgot what they're more closely related to. But they're kind of weird animals. Yeah, the teeth are really something. You do not want to get bitten by something with those kind of teeth. You think Meg didn't see a big four-toothed elephant? Possibly. I was commissioned for a it was a I think it was technically a pitch for a documentary. So I kind of didn't have a choice as to what they were doing, you know? Like I had to... They said they wanted a megalodon eating a whatever it was. Gomphotheer. So I was like, okay. That's what you're paying me to do. But yeah, I don't actually know if Megalodon encountered those guys or not. I'm definitely more of a Mesozoic, you know, I'm a dinosaur person. I know more about dinos than I do mammals, you know, megafauna, those types of guys. Those are admittedly a little bit out of my comfort zone as far as like research goes. But they're still fun to sculpt. Definitely fun, guys. And I don't actually know what happens with that documentary. I don't know if it ever like got greenlit or yeah, I don't know what happened to that whole thing. It was actually a job that David Krentz got for me, which was really cool, really nice of him. But yeah, I don't know what became of it. Maybe I should ask him. I should see if that ever turned into anything. Because sometimes you know, when you get brought in on stuff that's really very early, sometimes it just changes a lot. Sometimes they like completely get rid of a scenario. Sometimes like they totally change the setting, you know. There's so many different things that can happen to a production when you get brought on like real early at the beginning of it. So who knows? A rhino that doesn't have a horn. It just has human teeth, yeah. Think Megalodon is way older. Oh, you're a pterosaur person, Daniel? Pterosaurs, I would say, are also kind of stretching it. I mean, I've done quite a few of them by now, but they're just strange animals. They're very cool, but they're very strange guys. I guess every animal is strange in its own way, though. Depends on how you look at it, I suppose. I was watching, I can't remember what his name is on YouTube. Anyway, he was basically talking about how all vertebrates are basically just like really weird, differently proportioned, like just very strange fish. Like we're basically fish that have like just really like diversified our body plans to live in really crazy places. When you think about it that way, yeah, everything is very weird. Okay, so we've covered a good chunk of this. I still have little spots to cover. We're almost done. Unfortunately, I think I'm a little bit over time now, though. I'm going to have to head out. But we're almost there. We should be able to get to some scales next time. Actually have, like, visible scales on the model, because we did all the prep work today. But yeah, I'll just save this out really quick. Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for once again for stopping in, chatting with me, keeping me company while I do some work on this dino here. I have another stream scheduled for Saturday, and I'll probably see you guys again on Wednesday next week. So whenever you want to stop in, check out the stream, chat, you're welcome to stop by. Thanks everybody. Have a good night, morning, afternoon, and I'll see you next time, okay? Bye.